Hello everybody, we are at Endowus. You can't believe I've got the super guru of investment here, right? Do you think that this whole CPF policy change, it's positive to Endowus?
Oh, I didn't know you were going to start with that.
Everybody's going to ask that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so actually, people have been saying, is Endowus a beneficiary? I don't know, We'll have to see. I mean, who knows what will happen, but I think there are obviously a lot of positives about the announcements, and there's also some concerns or negatives, some people might say. And SA front and center. The SA closure after 55 was a bit of a shock, right? Nobody expected it. It came out of the blue, and so that's where everybody's focusing on. But there was a lot of other announcements, so it's important to unpack everything and look at it holistically. And obviously, some people are affected by some things more than others, so we can unpack that today.
So Sam, I just want to ask you this question: Are you personally affected by the SA closure?
No. I mean, obviously, I think SA closure is a very important announcement, and I think you're probably the most affected, Lou. And many people are.
Not just me.
Not
okay?
just you, of course.
Yeah, we got 30,000 people in a Telegram group. Not all, but significant chunk of them are affected.
I think 1M65 group has a meaningful part of that number that are affected. I think, you and I were invited to the CPF, discussion. I think CPF are trying their best to explain everything to people, and I think the number that catches people is CPF says 99% of people are not affected, right? But even 1% or less than 1%, I told them that it's tens of thousands of people, and so it does affect a meaningful number, and we should address what that impact is and why it matters. And CPF, to give them credit, are trying, and so they're doing a decent job and a good job of explaining why these decisions were made and how it will impact people. But obviously, there will be people who will be negatively impacted, especially people like you, more than anybody else. But then there's also a lot of other things, I think higher contributions beyond 55, enhanced retirement sums, so that you can actually pull more money from CPF Life over the long term. And you did that. Was it Instagram? 100 years, that one.
I will live to 100 years to extract $1.6 million out of CPF.
Yeah. Just like we discovered the hack, SA hack, and we are SA shielding, and you can still, this is an important part, that you can still invest your SA beyond 55, and you don't need to sell it until, whenever you want to, right? So that hack, in a way, still lives a little bit if you invest your SA into higher yielding or long-term financial products. And so those opportunities to gain higher than 4% still exist. And so we should all do what we can to maximize CPF, how we should use it individually to do better and prepare better for the future.
Endowus is one of the few venues that a CPF member can use their CPF to do investment. Everybody knows that I've quite a significant chunk of my OA savings into Endowus, and that has used tremendous fruits. But today, I want to make sure that everybody is given the opportunity to hear out. Maybe there's some form of opportunity that Endowus can step in to close the gap that is no longer available because of the SA account closure after 55. So maybe this is a nice segue for us to now talk about. Sam, is there anything companies like you and Endowus could do to help affected CPF members like us that now has no more SA account after 55 years old?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think that I would encourage people below 55. You still have that flexibility to take advantage of the higher interest rate SA provides if you want to, right? Because it still gives you flexibility. You can still invest your SA as well. But the problem with SA investment is that the CPF does not allow you to invest into higher risk investments. It has to have a certain portion of fixed income. So it can't be 100% equity like your OA. which I personally, and I've mentioned this to the CPF board, is maybe the wrong approach, because if CPF board and we want people to take control of their investments and understand the risk and take the appropriate risk and want to be compensated because they're going to be long-term investors and generate the 5, 6, 7, 10% kind of return sometimes markets provide, then you should allow equity investment or a higher portion of equity investment for SA too, especially now, right? So I think that's one policy change that I think we should try to push for, because I think there are people who want that. And our clients have asked us, why can't we do more equity for SA, for example? For now, though, what you're able to invest in a balanced portfolio, balanced like 50% equity, 40% equity, 50, 60% fixed income. And if you look at the long term, those have generated more than 4 or 5%. So, so they have, like, there's multiple funds which are balanced funds who have over the long term generated, 5% plus. There's also fixed income products that are generating close to 4% over the long term.
For example?
There's United SGD Fund, which is probably the most well-known short-term fixed income product.
Okay.
That actually has not beaten 4%, but it's actually closer and beaten T-bills and Singapore savings bond numbers. So
what is the number we're looking at?
3.5%.
Oh, it's not too bad.
Yeah, and in the last 1 year, it's close to 4%.
Oh,
so it's actually
wow.
higher than T-bills.
Okay.
So those single fund opportunities exist.
Yeah.
There's, Schroders and First State have these like mixed portfolios, balanced portfolios that have generated higher returns over the long term, purely because equities gives you, higher returns as you have benefited. But, what the most important thing is that people need to do more. People need to understand the investment opportunities that are out there and then take a little bit more risk, but don't try to just focus on fixed returns, but take a little bit of risk and generate higher returns. I think that's the most important thing.
So this is where I would like to break up, Singapore, investors into two types. One are the more risk-taking like me, and I've, invested a lot of money into your wonderful products, and I've humongous returns, and I'm personally shocked, and I want to thank him, right? But he still owe me a char siu rice.
Today we're gonna go for bak kut teh instead.
He still owe me one char siu rice. But because of Endowus right now, my returns on my OA has like hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? But that's not the point. The point I want to drive at is that there's a even bigger chunk of customers, they are not comfortable to take on so much risk. Okay, what are products available that has very low volatility and ideally no volatility, okay, but has returns that are close enough to kind of replace, the SA 4% effect, right? Now, in all fairness, government has never said that 4% is fixed, okay? But they did say that you will move towards a long-term bonds kind of a return. So which is very close to what your products you have. So maybe for this group of customers, you can deep dive a little bit and say that, okay, these are the alternatives you have from this range.
Yeah. No, so first thing I would say is actually it's very unique. Singapore is very unique in the sense that a government guaranteeing a minimum return or interest is pretty much unheard of.
That's why everybody loves the government.
Well, yeah.
Well, not everybody, but quite a lot of people
for
love
the returns that they give.
Yeah, I love
for
the government,
fixed yield. Yeah. Because that is very rare in the world. So
Remember,
first of all,
remember, you may not like the government, you may not like the CPF, but you must like their money.
Yes.
Okay, if they give you money, you take. Okay.
Yes, and Singapore government CPF is one of the few that gives you a guaranteed risk-free return, which is great. So take advantage of it. First of all, secondly. But however, you can actually over the long term generate higher returns, right? The problem in the past was cost of investing was very high. It still is a little bit, right? Transaction cost, CPF, there is a little bit of cost. The banks take a charge, broker takes a charge. And so it's not us, by the way. If anybody asks about our fees, we take like very little.
Terrible.
There's a lot of other fees in between the transactions, and we're making our effort to lower the cost everywhere, wherever possible. So Endowus being the first and still the only digital advisor for CPF, and we were allowed to do that in 2019, right? And we've been building the business up in the right way, We've brought in the right products, like really low cost funds, like the Amundi US Index Fund, which is 5 basis points. It's actually beaten the S&P 500 in terms of returns, and it's better
really?
than
I
any
didn't
of the
know that.
better. It's better than Infinity and all the other
Yes,
index
beaten
funds.
the S&P 500?
Yeah, because
Really?
it has a higher portion of tech, a little bit. So it's
I
actually
didn't
done better.
That's why I was wondering
So,
how come my
numbers
my
are actually
funds
good,
are
right?
slightly better than S&P 500. I didn't
So
realize
that's why
that.
I really do like the Amundi Index Fund over
Okay.
any of the other ones, Infinity, BlackRock, everything else, because actually it is the lowest cost, 5 basis points, cheaper than any ETF, any index fund that
5
exists.
basis points means how many percent?
0.05%.
It's almost nothing, man.
It's almost nothing,
It's
yeah.
almost nothing.
So
Yeah.
I think we have made an effort to make a difference. Still the only platform where that is available for retail investors for CPF. And you can build portfolios if you want to. And I think that is a core allocation that every CPF member, especially if you're younger, and especially for OA, you should actually allocate some, if not a meaningful chunk like Lou, into those passive, low-cost index funds that are globally diversified, generate long-term returns that is going to give you compounded returns. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is that, as you said, SA 4%, beyond 55, now it's gone. What are the options? So there are a lot of options that are available. And
This
as I
one
said,
better listen, okay? Better listen now. Options, okay?
yeah. So the options are very broad, but the broad options depends on what risk you want to take.
So let's start with the low risk one first.
So
and
a
then
lower
slowly go
risk
up. Yeah.
is going to give you lower returns, right?
Okay, fair.
But even the zero risk money market funds or short-term bond funds these days, because interest rates are high, just like T-bills and Singapore savings bonds and all these other options that exist, and even fixed deposits on CPF, it is possible to generate 3-4% type of returns with very low risk. And that's, we're trying to bring some money market funds into CPF as well, but currently we have short-term and short duration fixed income bond funds. And this
Example of one or two of them?
well, I mentioned one, but
Which
there's many others.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
How
Please,
are you going to find
please-
this information?
Please reach out to Endowus. support@endowus.com. If you go into your Endowus app or the investment fund list, you can actually screen for these fixed income funds as well. But if you need help, just reach out to us. We'll be happy to help.
Support@endowus.com.
Yes.
Everybody note this email, okay?
I think a lot of 1M65 already know.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
You knew.
Yeah,
You keep forgetting. We're getting
call you-
old.
I can call you. I can call your guys.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, special Mr. Lu. but
Okay.
But support@endowus.com, you can reach out to us and we'll be happy to help and try to find what is right for you, because it's not one size fits all. Not everybody
Sure.
should be
agree.
doing the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Well, thanks Sam for sharing all the insights to alleviate some of the fears that our 1065 community have over the closure of the CPF SA account. So in the next video, what we'll share is our juice, Sam Dry on all his investment kung fu. You must watch the next video. We'll answer questions like, crash buying versus DCA, stock picking, is it a good thing or not? Amundi versus Lion Global,
Should we sell at
things
the
like-
top?
Should we sell at the top, right now, take profit and things like that. So
Yeah.
all these questions, I know you all are dying to know. Watch the next video.